Good afternoon, everybody. Um, this video I've been wanting to do for a long time. Um, I really wanted to have a specific thumbnail to show pictures of two troopers I'm going to be talking about. Unfortunately, I don't know how to montage two pictures together in one thumbnail, and I did not just want to post one picture of one trooper and not the other. So what we're going to talk about happened like a long time ago, but it really affected my life in so many ways because I knew so much about this incident. It kept coming back to the as a training mention for troopers, anybody who was involved in law enforcement in any capacity. You learn things, unfortunately, through trial and error. And this is going to be one of those incidents. Um, I'm going to talk to you about troopers Carey and Yarrington. Ronald L. Carey, born in 1943, he perished in 1972. Uh, Trooper Carey was the uncle of a friend of mine I grew up with. I'm going to read to you what's on the Delaware State Police Museum page in memory of fallen troopers. I've been watching a lot of videos recently on YouTube about officers involved in shootout situations, and there's a lot of training that they go through, shoot or don't shoot, and I've been seeing a lot of this lately, and it kind of forced me to talk about this. Hopefully, maybe there's somebody out there watching that's going to go in law enforcement, and maybe this could help them in the future. But when law enforcement officers are in a stressful situation, they kind of just react and go with their training. Sometimes they don't always protect themselves, not intentionally, obviously, but we're going to talk about Trooper Ronald Carey, 29 years of age, and his partner David C. Yarrington, 24, attempted to capture two holdup suspects at the Concord Motel, U.S. Route 202. It's called Johnson's Corner in Pennsylvania on January 5th, 1972. So what I'm going to tell you about this, 2 years in a row, I went to something the Delaware State Police hosted. Fortunately, I was very, very blessed to be able to attend not only once, but twice, a thing they call Trooper Youth Week. And what they basically do is you basically go through a simulated Delaware State Police Academy. You live in the same barracks they are. It's very militaristic, very much like the Army or the Marine Corps, whatever have you. And they run you ragged. They want you to be able to hold up in stressful situations. And I remember this being, I went to Trooper Youth Week, I think it was 1980 and 1981. Troopers Carey and Yarrington, they both perished in 1972. But this really sticks in my head. So what I'm going to tell you is I'm going to add to what they have listed on this page because I have a little more insight than most people. On U.S. Route 202 in Delaware, there at the time it was called the Tally-Ho Motor Lodge. I'm not sure if it's still called that today, but it remained that name for a very long time. It was approximately a mile from the Pennsylvania state line. So when I was reading this to you, it's going to sound weird that 2 Delaware State troopers were killed in Pennsylvania. I'm going to explain that. So there was a violent armed robbery that occurred at the Tally-Ho Motor Lodge. I do believe it was late at night. I don't remember the exact time, but they had a good description of the suspect vehicle, so they were not far behind on that location. And this was the old days where the troopers rode two in a vehicle. Unfortunately, that doesn't occur anymore, which is to me very unsafe. But on this incident, it didn't really matter. So troopers carrying Yarrington were going up Concord Pike towards Pennsylvania state line, and literally, I'd say 50 or 100 yards. When they got to the state line, there wasn't like a turnaround right at the state line. You had to go into Pennsylvania a little bit. So they were maybe only 50 yards or probably not even 100 yards into Pennsylvania. And they were going to do the U-turn and come back to the state of Delaware, where they had jurisdiction. At that point in time, they looked over to the right. There was a little cheap motel type setup there, and they spot the suspect vehicle. So they get out. Troopers carrying Yarrington approach the male driver. A tussle ensues, and they're trying to subdue the male driver, not really having much focus on the female passenger. She exits the passenger side of the vehicle, brandishes a shotgun, and shot both troopers. One trooper perished pretty much immediately. The other trooper, I think it was hours later, where he perished. So I'm going to try and continue reading to the best of my ability. So it says, this dual tragedy was perhaps best summarized by Ronald Carey's mother, who said of her son, "I suppose if he had to go, this is the way he wanted to go, but I didn't think it would be so soon." Ronald Carey became a trooper because he wanted to be respected. To his classmates at the Delaware State Police Academy, he was the perfect cop and the kind of guy your son grows up to be. Lieutenant Raymond, Deputy Assistant Director of Training, characterized Carey as dedicated, solemn, and trustworthy. He didn't talk much. Carey leaves a wife, Elizabeth Lee, and 3 children, Lynn, Elaine, Jeffrey, Ronald, and John William, to carry on without him. Ronald Carey was the ideal husband, helping with the diapers, dishes, and feeding the children. Trooper Carey was buried in the Lawn Croft Cemetery, Boothwyn, Pennsylvania, on January 10th, 1972. The irony of this is Boothwyn, Pennsylvania, it is right near where Trooper Carey was killed, as well as Trooper Yarrington, literally a stone's throw away. That's so ironic. I never picked up on that prior until just reading this statement right now. So 1,200 policemen joined the family and friends of Trooper Ronald Carey at his funeral service and burial. John Harrington, National President of Fraternal Order of Police, said Carey's funeral was the largest funeral ever in the nation. Pastor Randy H. Carroll of the Marcus Hook Baptist Church put the death in perspective, stating, "The best appreciation you can show for his sacrifice is to be the kind of officer he was." So that's very powerful. Some things that stick out to me as I'm reading this, you got to remember back then there wasn't social media. So now a lot of these police officer deaths do get thousands of people. My friend, Master Corporal Ronald G. Williams, he had about 3,000 troopers, or excuse me, police officers at his funeral. And he did not even die in the line of duty. He died in a vehicular automobile accident. So we're going to read a little bit about David C. Yarrington. I can see this being done. I've experienced something similar to this related to Master Corporal Ronald G. Williams. But they're talking, David Yarrington was born in 1948, Paris, 1972. At 3:41 a.m. on January 6, 1972, the following message was broadcast to all the state over the state police radio. To all cars, Trooper Yarrington expired at 2:45 a.m. this morning. Trooper Yarrington, 24, a fellow classmate of Trooper Ronald Carey, became the second policeman killed in holdups of two Pennsylvania-Delaware state line motels. Nationwide attention was focused on Delaware, January 8th through 9th, 1972, as funeral rites were held for officers. Trooper Yarrington and Carey are only the second and third troopers to die by gunshot since the force was formed in 1923. Governor Russell Peterson expressed sorrow over the deaths, stating, "This is a tragedy reminder of the dangerous and courageous jobs that are being done every day by the Delaware State Police. On behalf of people of Delaware, I extend my deepest sympathy." Trooper Yarrington was, according to Lieutenant Raymond Deputy, the opposite of Trooper Carey. Yarrington was, to quote the lieutenant, a fun-loving guy who got a kick out of everything. David Yarrington, as remembered by a public classmate, said the toughest kid around until the 7th grade, and then he suddenly calmed down. He became active in the Assembly of God Church and spoke of becoming a minister. David Yarrington is survived by his wife, Janice, and son, David Jr. Trooper Yarrington was laid to rest in the burial cemeteries at Silverbrook Cemetery, Wilmington, Delaware. I've been there. I've not been to his gravesite. I did read another article somewhere. I don't have it in front of me, but during the trial, the female basically stated, let me see if I can find this real quick because it is very pertinent to the story. The female stated trial, let me try and find this. The female stated at trial that she was fearing for the life of her significant other, the male half, and because they said, she said they were abusing her male half. So that's why she did what she did. So I'm trying to find okay, this is the wrong article. Doggone it. I'm trying to find out what I should have done a better job preparing. I didn't think of it until I was talking. I thought it was in this article. I think they were eventually sentenced to death, but don't quote me on that. But you're probably thinking, why am I so emotional over something that happened, 50 years ago? It teaches so many other law enforcement officers about officer survival. It's a shame that had to occur, but all my years growing up, these two troopers were always highly spoken of, even though they were, young. One was 29, one was 24. They went out to perform their duties to save and protect the residents of the state of Delaware. So anyway, I've been wanting to share that for a very long time, and I'm going to probably circle around and talk about some other troopers, in the future. I know it's not a very popular topic on my platform. It doesn't get as many views, but it's very important for me to share, because that's a very important topic to support. Anybody who says defund the police is a frickin' idiot. Peace out, folks. Thanks for listening, and remember, respect the thin blue line. Thank you.